Yesterday, God was telling me that I don't have the full picture. And this is going to sound really weird. I even hesitate to say it to you because I just don't know how to explain what it was that he put on me. But he put put a vision or a picture of a woodpecker. And there was something that was like around the woodpecker. And I kept leaning in and trying to see, like, what is this? What are you showing me? What's around this woodpecker? And he turned the piece around so that then I could see that it was like a hole in a tree. And that what I was seeing was around the woodpecker was basically like a part of the tree. And what he said to me was, you can't see the whole picture right now. So I've been contemplating this message and trying to understand and really suffering each day. I can't even tell you the level of suffering that I am experiencing each day. And I just have to keep standing in what he's done, what he's spoken to me, what he's promised, how he's been faithful. And he really has. He really has been faithful. But this situation here is a culmination of everything that I've done in him. And it's going to break me if he doesn't do something. It will break me. And I know it's not God's intention to break me. And I also know something else is that, there have been so many situations along this journey where we've gotten to a certain place and I've thought he has to do something. He has to do something like by this day. And then he shows me that he doesn't have to. And this has been going on for a while now. This has been going on for over a year. So one of the things that I've learned is that I really have to stay with him and what he's doing. And I can't rely on my own understanding about when, by what date he has to do something. It's just every single day, not knowing when, not even having that, it would be nice to have that sort of destination date where you're like, okay, by this time, I'm going to know. But he doesn't have to do things that way. So there's just been a lot that he's taught me about how to stand. And, that destination date, by the way, is important. Because we all want that, right? Like in Acts 1, the apostles said to Jesus, are you now going to restore the kingdom to Israel? And Jesus said, it's not for you to know the times the Father has set by his own authority. And we know none of us is going to know when Jesus is coming back. We're going to know roughly around the time, but we're not going to know the day or hour. And so these are God's ways. This is what he does. And he does it in part to make us realize that our own understanding is nothing. So he said to me the other day, I think this might have been yesterday, I can't remember. The day's time is just inconsequential right now. But he said that I don't have the full picture. And he keeps giving me these glimpses of understanding and clarity and even a defiance that he brought me here and he's not going to ruin me. It's like a defiance against the accusations of the devil because what the devil is trying to do is make God out to be a liar, make him out to be unfaithful, and make me out to be foolish and crazy. And that's the accusation that I keep battling against and saying, no, this is what God's word says. No, this is what God has told me. No, this is what God has done. Just like Jesus was doing. You got to take out that armor. It's an internal battle, not an external battle, not a battle of flesh and blood, guys. And the thing that he's reminding me of in Scripture is how the apostles didn't understand what Jesus had done in feeding the multitude. They didn't understand, who Jesus was or what it was that he was doing until they understood. And so he was talking with them about the loaves, and I want to read it to you. Mark 6, verse 30. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going, that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. This is a remote place, they said, and it's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat. But he answered, you give them something to eat. They said to him, that would take more than half a year's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? How many loaves do you have, he asked. Go and see." When they found out, they said, "5 and 2 fish." Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of men who had eaten was 5,000. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. After leaving them, he went up on a mountainside to pray. Later that night, the boat was in the middle of the lake, and he was alone on the land. He saw the disciples straining at the oars because the wind was against them. Shortly before dawn, he went out to them walking on the lake. He was about to pass by them, but when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. Immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it's I, don't be afraid." Then he climbed into the boat with them, and the wind died down. They were completely amazed, for they had not understood about the loaves. Their hearts were hardened. Okay, so they're seeing the miracles that Jesus is performing, and yet, and so, they can see certain things that Jesus is doing, but then other things, it's like the full picture isn't there yet. Do you guys get that? Do you get what I'm talking about? This is what I feel right now. God has performed so many miracles in my life. And there's even times in my journal where I feel like a real jerk. Like I feel like a jerk. And I even say, I feel like such a jerk that I can't just stand and know that you're going to do something because the days are closing in. I know the things you've done. How can I know those things and not be able to hold on? How can I become so afraid? I just feel like I need you to fill in the gaps. I need you to go the rest of the way. Not go the rest of the way in terms of like proving yourself, but go the rest of the way in terms of helping me to get there. Because I don't feel like I'm able to do this on my own. And indeed, I'm not. And so this message of him, it's been at least since yesterday. I don't know if it was the day before or when it was, but since then I've just been sort of perplexed by that vision. Like, why did you speak that to me? Why are you telling me that I don't have the full picture? And he's starting to put it together right now, like, or at least this understanding of what it means to not have the full picture. That I have these glimpses where I'm able to stand, I'm defiant, I have clarity, I have understanding, and it's like, no, I know who you are. I know what you've done. I know that you can't possibly forsake me. Your name is faithful and true. I have those glimpses, but it's like, I can't see the full picture. And I don't mean the full picture about what he's going to do. It's the full picture of who he is. Do you understand that? Like the fullness of who he is. I'm not able to see the fullness of who he is. And here's what it reminds me of is when Tori was pregnant with Jeremiah and she was going to, have this and she was still going to medicine and God was pulling her out of medicine, but she was still consulting with them at that time. And they were telling her, oh, the baby's going to die and you're going to die and blah, 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 blah. Well, I hadn't been to medicine in a long time, in many years, had no intention of going back. But you hear these things when you leave that door open, right? You hear these things and you start thinking, well, are we crazy to think that God, like that you can do an unmedicalized birth? What if something goes wrong? What if blah, blah, blah? Well, let me tell you, so many things went wrong. And both mother and baby were perfectly healthy. And in fact, things went wrong according to the definition of medicine. And they don't even, their definitions are so off. Telling mothers, if you go to 42 weeks, we got to go in and take that baby. Women go to 43 weeks all the time. So you see, that kind of a definition leads you to think that something's wrong when nothing's wrong. And when God delivered Jeremiah, it was like from that point on, we could see something so clearly. Like we had the no duh moment, like no duh, God can deliver a baby. He made that baby. We just take for granted that our bodies do all of this stuff. Like God wove that. And then when our bodies stop working, we're like, whoa. So this is kind of a miracle that this has been just happening all this time. And now, from that point on, it was like we could see a picture of God that we couldn't see before because our hearts had been hardened. We weren't able to understand yet. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm being brought into understanding his nature and his faithfulness, but I don't understand yet. I don't have the entire picture yet. And to be honest, I was a little scared of that message. For a minute, I was like, what do you mean I don't see the full picture? Is there something you're going to trick me with? Because I've been standing here believing that you're going to be faithful, that I made all these decisions because I know your faithfulness, because I believe in your faithfulness. Are you going to trick me? So, these things got to come out of me. It's almost like he's hiding part of who he is right now, and I'm straining to see the fullness of who God is. But I'm hindered by ideas of who God might be and how he might forsake me. But he's going to make me see. Just like he made me see with Jeremiah's birth. I couldn't see until he made me see. Until that time, I was too afraid of what man was saying or who God might trick me with. How he might deceive me. And part of that comes from my experience with my dad. And part of it comes from just not knowing who he is yet. Just not knowing the fullness of who God is. But I'll tell you something. Realizing this and having him reveal to me, this is what you're sorting through right now, this is what I'm doing in you, is such a comfort. It's giving me just a little bit more strength, endurance, clarity, understanding, so that I can stand a little longer. He has to be who he said he is. He has to be who he's revealed himself to be, both in my life and in the Word of God. He led me to this place in Jeremiah today where Babylon had laid siege to Jerusalem, and Jeremiah actually goes into captivity, but he's told, you're going to go into captivity, but don't be afraid of these people because you're going to be set free. Not only was he set free, but he was given a gift. God is faithful. And that's what he was showing me through that. Is look, Jeremiah suffered 23 years prophesying about what was going to happen, and that Babylon was going to overcome them. They were going to lose the land. They were going to be exiled from the land. 23 years he's prophesying this. God was faithful to Jeremiah. I know what I've done with God. I have believed in him with all my heart, mind, and soul to do the things that I've done. People don't just give up their houses and properties and careers and livelihood, and they don't just do that. And God doesn't lead them to do that to trick them and break them. That would be such a terrible situation. That would make God terrible. The other thing I've taken up with him, there's one person on this channel who really, really believes and emails me and shares with me and encourages me. And I've been concerned about his faith. And I pray about him and think about him every single day. And I've been praying and asking God, look, all of these people who are on this channel, whether they believe or not, are looking. They're looking at what you're doing. But I know this person believes. I know this person is standing with me. I know that my children are standing with me. I know you won't break their faith too. Because if I've done all this as an example to them, and you make an example of me to be a fool, to be crazy, and for you not to be faithful, what will that do to them, Lord? So when I'm in my right mind, I can speak these things, I can feel these things. But when this flesh starts to try to pull me in, I get to thinking. And you know what? When you're living by the Spirit, when God has brought you into living by the Spirit, and living biblical faith, you cannot be pulled into the flesh for 1 second or you're going to crumble. You can't really think about what you're doing. You just have to stay in the Spirit or you'll go nuts. I just wanted to take a minute to share where I'm at, what I'm feeling as these days are closing in. Now, I told you previously on a message that when your home has been auctioned, you have 3 days to get out. That's what it said on Google. That's what I thought. But come to find out, the deed has to be recorded. And by the way, if you know about this, please don't send me a message because I'm trying to just stay in the Spirit. I don't want to start thinking about these things by my carnality. It's going to be a stumbling block to me. Please don't send me a message. God lets me know as I need to know. So as I understand it, it can take about 15 days, up to 15 days for that to be recorded. So I have this little bit of time, right? The auction went through on the 1st of May. And now it's the 9th. But see, I've got a matter of days, don't I? And then at that time, they can give you a notice that you got to get out in 3 days. So that's what I'm facing right now. It's a lot. It's a lot for a person to go through after having given so much. But you know what else? My utilities are still on. There's food in my fridge. Not a lot, but there's some. I have enough right now. I have enough to live. He's not going to forsake me. I just have to do the things that he has said to do. I have to stay in the Spirit. I have to stand in my faith. If you don't stand, as he says in Isaiah 7, if you don't stand in your faith, you won't stand at all. I can't be afraid of the devil. I can't be afraid of man. And I can't trust man. And these are all things that God has spoken to me to get me through this situation. It's all instruction that he has given me as time has gone on in order to make me stand in this situation. And he will do it.